Can you see me? Because
Miss Kim.
Miss Marshall.
Yes, this is Miss Kim. This is J. Kim.
Yes, Miss Kim, I'm here for Antonius Aziz.
Yes. I heard that he was upgraded to felony, so would you please double check with the jail, because that's what I heard.
He was upgraded to a felony. He was transferred.
Okay, so all right, so I'll sign out because I did see a CP number on it, so I kind of figured that, but I'd check in just in case. Okay, all
Thank
right,
you very, very much.
appreciate it. See you
Nice
tomorrow.
seeing you,
Bye.
Doug. Thank you.
Take care. God bless.
God bless you.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. Are you able to hear and see me?
Yes.
Yes, Your Honor. Good
All
afternoon.
right, this is the State Expedited Accusations calendar. This calendar is for those individuals who have been recently arrested. Someone is unmuted. I'm hearing a horrible echo. Please mute your screens if you're not speaking. Thank you. This calendar is for those individuals who have been recently arrested, but the cases have already been formally accused and bound over to state court. You've probably just seen an announcement pop up on your screen. This proceeding is in fact being recorded. It's also being broadcast as a live stream over the internet. That means that any member of the public can log on and watch this proceeding. All defendants, please pay attention. I'd like to say this once. You have an absolute right to remain silent. Anything you say regarding the facts of your case can and will be used against you. You also have a right to an attorney at this proceeding today. When I ask you if you understand your constitutional rights, that's what I am referring to. Are there any announcements from the public defender's office? Has everyone had the opportunity to speak with their clients?
Yes, Your Honor. Position number 7, Angelia Lewis will be, she waived appearance. So I filed a waiver of appearance for her.
All right, thank you.
And I
Ms.
did
Kim.
receive that,
Appreciate
Ms.
it.
Kim.
Thank you, Ms. Kim. I appreciate that. It's either the state or defense requesting breakouts for any of these cases today. I'd like to do our breakouts first if we are.
Your Honor, I don't know what position this defendant is in, but Martinez, based on the charge.
Okay, you're requesting a breakout for position 8. Are we requesting any other breakout positions? All right, I don't believe so. Are there any other announcements at the jail? Any medical resets?
Yes, Your Honor, we have one announcement. Position number 5, Mr. Jermaine Hosley, bonded out.
Okay. Thank you. Can I do position 8 first, since we'll be taking a breakout for that position?
Sure, not a problem, Your Honor.
Thank you. I believe that's the case of Eduardo Martinez.
Yes, Your Honor, that will be me.
All right, Mr. Martinez, I'm not going to sound the charge here, but your case is 22 CR 0051669Y, in which, like I said, I'm not going to sound that charge, but the offense date was yet the 1st of August. I'm going to go into a breakout with your attorney in the state, and we'll come back onto the record to tell you what has been recommended as far as your bond.
Yes,
So if
ma'am.
I could go into a breakout with Ms. Tortorello, Ms. Kim, Ms. Hogue may want to attend as well. And is there anyone else? Will Mr. Walker like to attend? I'm assuming so.
Yes.
Mr. Walker as well. Mr. Howard, can I please have the history for position 8?
His third arrest. 2021 DUR. He's on probation for that.
Okay.
And a 2013 driving without a valid license.
All right, thank you. At this time, Mr. Martinez is going to receive a $2,000 surety bond. He is to stay away from the address on North Point Parkway and have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons as a condition of that surety bond. His case will be reset to the SAP calendar on August the 16th of 2022, as will anyone else who receives a surety or cash bond today. That is the reset date. Is there anything further from either the state or defense?
Nothing further from the state, Your Honor.
All right, best of luck to you, Mr. Martinez. We can go to the next position.
Position number 9, Ms. Palmer.
All right, Ms. Palmer, your case number is 22 CR 005170E, in which you're charged with criminal trespass with the offense date of August the 2nd. Do you understand your constitutional rights?
Uh-huh.
All
I
right,
wasn't read my constitutional rights.
all right. You have an absolute right to remain silent. Anything you say regarding the facts of this case can and will be used against you. You also have a right to an attorney. This proceeding is being broadcast over the internet and it's also being recorded. Do you understand those rights as I previously explained?
Not really, no.
All right, what I'm saying to you is that you have a right to an attorney and you have a right to not incriminate yourself by making statements. Do you understand that?
Okay.
All right. All right, who represents Ms. Palmer? All right, Ms. Kim.
Honor J. Kim.
Okay, Ms. Kim is gonna assist you with this today, Ms. Palmer. All right, Ms. Tortorella, what is the state's recommendation?
Yes, Your Honor. For the criminal trespass, we're asking for a $1,000 surety bond that's already to remain as set. The conditions is to stay away from the incident location at the Hilton Hotel, 1031 Virginia Avenue in Hapeville. A social worker to visit her for housing. No drugs or alcohol, no weapons, and no new violations of Georgia law. Your Honor, on August 2nd, 2022, an Officer Brown of the Hapeville Police Department responded to the Hilton Hotel on Virginia Avenue in Hapeville in regards to a trespass. Upon arrival, the officer met with the hotel security guard, Robert Jones, who advised the subject a Black female was trespassed from the hotel and had locked herself in the female restroom and refused to leave. The officer observed the subject, later identified as the defendant, Satanda Palmer, while walking on the back part of the building. While speaking to the defendant, she spontaneously uttered that she was in the restroom and refused to leave because she did not know who the security was. The 911 dispatcher confirmed that the defendant had been recently criminally trespassed from the hotel on March 11th, 2022 by hotel management. The defendant was arrested and all these events occurred in Fulton County, Georgia. Your Honor, this defendant has 3 cycles. Therefore, she will likely reoffend while she's out on bond. She's also a convicted felon. She pled guilty to terroristic threats, felony, and criminal trespass on November 18th, 2009 in Clayton County Superior Court. Therefore, Your Honor, this is the reason why we're asking for that $1,000 surety bond to remain as set. Nothing further.
Thank you. Before I go to you, Ms. Kim, I should have gone to Mr. Howard first. Mr. Howard, will you put the history onto the record?
She got 64 total. She's on probation for burglary out of LA. She got history out of Washington, Nevada, Louisiana, California, and Oregon. She got a lot of everything.
Okay, I think I've got it, Ms. Howard. Thank you. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Palmer actually claims that all those charges from other states like Nevada, Louisiana, California, they are not hers. She believes that that's from somebody else's. And she claims that there was no Miranda warning when she was arrested, and she was just using the restroom. And she is relatively new here in Georgia, but she has a job at McDonald's working there temporarily. And she graduated from high school, and she has a grown children. However, they're not here in Georgia. So there's nobody who can help her to get out of the bond at this point. So she strongly prefers to get a signature on bond. We would like to request for from public defender's office. I am actually recommending for social worker services and behavioral health evaluation test so she can get appropriate help. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, at this time, the $1,000 surety bond will remain as set. She is to stay away from the Hilton Hotel on Virginia Avenue and to have no weapons, drugs, or alcohol. I am going to order the BHET.
Thank you,
And
Your
she will
Honor.
be reset as well to the SAP calendar on the 16th.
Thank you.
Is there anything further
Your
from
Honor,
the state?
sorry to interrupt, but if we're gonna do the BHET, I think she needs to be reset to the competency calendar.
Not MH, BH. I'm just asking the social
Okay.
worker to go out, Mr.
Understood.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And good
Thank you.
afternoon.
Good to
Thank
see you, Mr. Walker. All right, we're gonna go to our next position. Best of luck to you, Ms. Palmer. Who do we have next?
We're going to courtroom 2, Your Honor, and this is going to be position number 4, Mr. Richard Harris.
All right, Mr. Harris, your case number is 22 CR 005165H, in which you're charged with criminal trespass with the offense date. Don't say anything. Don't say anything. Okay, please don't say anything, Ms. Harris. Your offense date was August the 2nd of 2022. I'm afraid that you will say something if we unmute you, but I do need to know whether or not you understand your constitutional rights. Do you understand your rights here today, Mr. Harris?
Somebody got me in night time. Somebody raped my butt.
Oh.
Okay, let's stop speaking. Okay, we'll just proceed. Ms. Hogue, do you represent Mr. Harris?
Yeah.
Yes, I do, Your Honor. We are recommending a social visit as well.
Okay, we'll please mute at courtroom 2. Mr. Howard, can I have his history? I understand he's recommended, but I want to make sure that that's put onto the record.
The file I have is this is first arrest.
Okay,
I don't know if state got something different.
okay, Ms. Backus, is this your case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, good to see you as well. What is the state's
Thank you.
recommendation?
The state's recommendation on this case is going to be a $500 surety bond and to stay away from the incident location. This incident occurred on yesterday, August 2nd. For context, it looks like the defendant was given several criminal trespass verbal warnings by officers during between the dates of July 11th and 16th to stay off of the premises of the Olympic Flame restaurant located at 1740 Marietta Boulevard. Additionally, during the week of July 24th through the 31st, there were several complaints made from the restaurant about the defendant remaining on the property and defecating in public. And despite numerous warnings, the defendant continued to enter the premises. And so on yesterday, the officer encountered the defendant on the property again and placed him under arrest. Your Honor, that is correct. We show the same as pretrial. This is a first arrest. He's had numerous warnings, Your Honor, and so we are asking for the $500 surety bond and the stay away, nothing further.
All right, Ms. Hogue.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Harris is 53 years old. As you see, he has absolutely no criminal history whatsoever. So this is obviously his first arrest in 53 years. Right now, he is homeless, Your Honor, and has no financial support. So any bond is tantamount to no bond because he has no way to make any bond. We do believe, based on our interactions, that he does require some evaluations as well as social services. So we would be recommending that as well. At this point, Your Honor, we do believe believe he is qualified for the signature bond. In lieu of that, if you do not give him a signature bond, we do request a $500 surety bond remain in place.
Ms. Hogue, are you requesting more than a BHET? Are you requesting an MHET?
MH, yes, I am, Your Honor.
All right, you are requesting the MH. I'm gonna order the MH, I believe that's appropriate. He'll be reset to that competency calendar on the 16th, and I will put the $500 surety bond in place as well as that stay away. Well, Ms. Hogue, will you prepare that order for my signature?
Yes, I will, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. I believe we've addressed all of Mr. Harris's case. If there's nothing further from either party, nothing further, Ms. Backus or Ms.
Nothing
Hogue?
further, Your Honor.
All right, his case
Your Honor,
will be
what was that bond amount? I'm sorry, I apologize.
$500 surety, and
Okay,
he's being reset to the competency on the 16th.
Your
Thank you.
Honor, are competency calendars only done on Thursdays or are they done on Tuesdays and Thursdays? I'm trying to figure out if it's the 18th or the 16th.
Oh, Ms. Bridgewater is telling me it's the 11th, so it'll be the 11th.
Okay,
No,
Thank
that's Ms. Kim. Ms. Bridgewater, can you confirm for me? When is the next competency that he could go on?
I will look it up and I will let everyone know in just a minute.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
All right, who do we have next?
Come on, Jackson, you make it. Good job. Have a seat there. Your Honor, this is position number 6, Mr. Jackson.
All right, Mr. Roderick Jackson, your case is 22 CR 005167B, in which you're charged with 1 count of criminal trespass and 1 count of committing certain prohibited acts at a rail or bus station, each with the offense date of August the 2nd of 2022. Do you understand your constitutional rights?
Good now.
All right, thank you. I appreciate that. Mr. Howard, will you put the history onto the record for me?
47 total. Last arrest was 2018 for shoplifting. 2018 possession of drug-related objects. 2017 theft by taking. Another 2017 possession of drug-related objects. 2016 simple battery dismissed. 2016 another possession of drug-related objects. He got a lot of those.
I think that's okay. I think I've got it. Thank you, Mr. Howard. Ms. Backus.
Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred on yesterday, August 2nd. While working plainclothes beat, an officer observed the defendant drinking from a margarita alcohol bottle at the North Avenue MARTA station. Upon approaching, the officer displayed his badge and identified himself as a MARTA officer and told the defendant or advised him of his violation. The defendant told the officer he didn't have any valid identification or breeze card. At that time, he was detained, and upon running his name, it was confirmed that the defendant had an active MARTA suspension, which was provided to him on May 5th of this year. And he was not allowed to resume riding until August 8th of this year. And so he was on an active suspension. The state is offering for this a time serve offer with a stay away, and that's valid only for today. And in opposition to that, a $500 surety bond on each count and a stay away from the incident location. Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. This is your case, Ms. Hogue. Has your client previously been informed of the time serve offer?
No, Your Honor, this is the first we're hearing of it. As you know, typically because we have very little information, we generally don't allow it. However, I have no problem going to a breakout with him to discuss it and also seeing how our stance would be on a time serve offer on this particular situation.
All right, instead of a breakout, Ms. Hogue, could you call the jail so we could keep going?
Certainly, Your Honor.
And I'm gonna ask the state, is the state intending to offer any other time serve offers today? Because it might.
Yes, Your Honor. I believe on position 1.
And who is that? Is that your case, Ms. Kim, position 1?
No, Your Honor, that is my case as well.
Okay, Ms. Hogue, will you call the jail and speak to position 1 as well as Mr. Jackson? So that we can see if I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Your Honor.
Ms. Backer, so those are the only ones. Ms. Tortorella, are you prepared to make any time served offers as well? So that if we need to take those pleas, because if we're taking pleas today, we need to do that first so that we can get plea paperwork before the conclusion of the calendar.
No, Your Honor, no pleas, no plea offers on my behalf.
All right.
Your Honor, if I could be given the number I need to call.
Will you all give Ms. Hope the number, please, at the jail? I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Ms. Ho, who are you gonna be talking to?
I'll be talking to Mr. Canty and Mr. Jackson.
Okay. I actually had Jackson.
Mm-hmm,
Come on, you gotta wake up.
mm-hmm.
Get up. You're gonna go over there to this phone. Nancy?
Excuse me, while we're doing this, that competency calendar date is gonna be August the 18th.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Bridgewater.
What phone number can I call?
Not yet. It's gonna be extension 22392.
22392. Okay, thank you.
All right.
All right. While we're doing that, is there another position we could go to that Ms. Kim represents?
Yes, we're gonna go to Mr. Purdue, position number 11.
All right. All right, good afternoon, Mr. Purdue. Your case number is 22 CR 0051728, in which you're charged with 1 count of marijuana possession of less than an ounce with the offense date of August the 2nd of 2022. Do you understand your constitutional rights?
Yes, yes.
All right, Mr. Howard, can I have the history?
This is second arrest. Last was 2020 trespass and felony terroristic threats. He went to felony earlier. I think he got a $30,000 bond. That's it.
Okay. Thank you. Ms. Tortorella?
Yes, Your Honor, we're asking for the marijuana less than an ounce charge to remain the same. It's currently at $1,500 surety bond. The conditions is no drugs or alcohol, no weapons, and no new violations of Georgia law. Your Honor, just to give you a little background, if you could please take judicial notice under OCGA 24-2-201. On the Odyssey jail screen, the defendant has 3 active warrants, not involved with the felony case he was just booked in for. It's EW0168-264, warrant EW0168-265, and warrant EW0168-263. These show as active in the system. He currently has an open felony case, as you've heard from pretrial 22 CP 211170 for robbery, aggravated assault with intent to rob, 2 counts, and possession of a firearm during the commission of certain felonies. He apparently got a $30,000 bond for that. The offense date was July 24th, 2022. In this case, Your Honor, the defendant took the property of 2 victims by using his firearm as other suspects demanded the property of the victims. He has a prior open case in Clayton County, terroristic threats, which is a felony. A warrant issued on September 1st, 2020. The defendant was arrested and granted a $7,500 bond with special conditions on September 3rd, 2020, and was released on a bond on September 4th, 2020. That case number is 2020 WA 15591. Current disposition, it's been bound over to Superior Court and it's pending. So, Your Honor, he's currently in violation of the bond order in Clayton County, as it is implied here in this state that a defendant not violate any laws of this state while out on bond. Your Honor, in this case on August 2nd, 2022, which was yesterday, gang officers of the Atlanta Police Department, Investigator Starks, and the ACE unit were in Zone 4 and Zone 1 canvassing the area, attempting to locate a vehicle that was involved in a robbery. In the Atlanta case, APD number 222051338 for the record. While in the area, the officers located the vehicle in question bearing the Georgia tag number they were looking for, driving eastbound on Hamilton East Holmes at the intersection of Baker Road. The officers did conduct a traffic stop. The driver of the vehicle and registered owner, defendant Kadarius Montez Perdue, was detained because the defendant was currently a suspect in the robbery. The defendant was arrested. His vehicle was searched, and the officers did find 9 grams of marijuana from a black and color sling bag that was located in the front passenger seat. And they also found a firearm, a CZ Scorpion 9mm from the back seat of the floorboard. The firearm was taken into property as evidenced by the police. And these events did occur in Fulton County, Georgia. Nothing further.
All right, thank you, Ms. Tortorella. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor, Mr. Perdue is 22 years old. As we read the warrant, first of all, the car is registered in both his name and co-signed by his grandmother as well. So there is another co-owner of the car. Number 2, the marijuana bag was found inside of the car. It does not indicate who is actually the owner or user of that drug. We would like to request for a signature on bond. He has already $30,000 bond. He's not going anywhere. He's not flight risk whatsoever. He will be there, and he has a bigger fish to fry. So we would like to request for a signature on bond on this particular one. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Ms. Kim. Mr. Perdue is going to receive a $500 surety bond, and he is to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons as a condition of that surety bond, and he will be reset to the SAP calendar as well. All right, anything further from the state or the defense?
Nope, nothing further, Your Honor.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Best of luck to you, Mr. Perdue. Who do we have next?
Next, we're gonna go to Mr. Palou, Leon Palou, position number 10.
All right. All right, good afternoon, Mr. Palou. Your case number is 22CR005171J, in which you're charged with 1 count of simple battery family violence with the offense date of January the 14th of 2022. Do you understand your constitutional rights?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Let's go to Mr. Howard, please.
This 3rd cycle. Previous 2 come out of the Army, so they're not arrests, but 2017 wrongful use of a controlled substance. It was not prosecuted. 2017 shoplifting. He got extra duty, so I guess he was reprimanded for that.
All right.
That's it.
Thank you. Ms. Tortorella?
Yes, Your Honor. For this case, we're asking for a $4,000 surety bond. The conditions is that he have no contact with the victim, Latasha Gomiller. The first name is Latasha, and the last name is Gomiller. That he stay away from the incident location at 2098 Campbellton Road Southwest in Atlanta. 1-day anger management, no drugs or alcohol, no weapons, and no new violations of Georgia law. Your Honor, on January 14th, 2022, which was earlier this year, an Officer Eubanks of the Atlanta Police Department responded to the incident location on Campbellton Road Southwest regarding a dispute. Ms. Gomiller, who called 911, advised the officer that she was involved in a verbal altercation with the defendant, Leon Palou. Ms. Gomiller advised she was 6 weeks pregnant at the time with the unborn child of the defendant. Ms. Gomiller said she drove the defendant to the incident location, and the defendant began to argue for no reason. Then the defendant used his closed fist to strike Ms. Gomiller on the left side of her neck. The defendant then fled on foot and was last seen wearing a lime green pullover. The officer did not observe any injuries on Ms. Gomiller. The defendant was eventually arrested, and all these events did occur in Fulton County, Georgia. Your Honor, we were able to speak to the victim. She advised us that she and the defendant do not live together. she stated that she wants contact with the defendant and does not fear him. When we asked if the defendant hit her on the side of her neck, she did begin to hesitate. However, she did say that he did strike her on the neck, but that was after she pushed him. And Your Honor, we do have the police, we do have record, or the police officer stated that the victim statements were recorded on his body worn camera. So Your Honor, I just want to say something. So this is evident of cycles of domestic violence, because the victim, first, she did state to us that he didn't, then she stated to us that he did. And, you know, this is very common in cases such as this. And Your Honor, just to point out the fact that he didn't care that she was pregnant at the time, and the actions that he took against the victim. And the fact that she also advised us, Your Honor, that he does support her children, her other children. And so she may be biased as to that situation. But Your Honor, we are concerned for her. I also want to point out that he did use, even if she did push him, he did use unjustifiable force when he struck her with a closed fist. So for that reason, Your Honor, we are asking for that surety bond. If you're inclined to give him a signature bond, we are asking for no contact. And I believe she's on the Zoom.
I see Ms. Gomiller. I'll go to her shortly. Ms. Kim?
Yes, may I please go first?
Yes.
Before we sound her?
Yes.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Leon Pello is 24 years old, Your Honor, and he served our country from 2016 to 2018. And he was discharged with honor, actually. And his title is E1 as a private soldier. And Your Honor, he has been here in Georgia for 19 years. He has no children. He's not married. However, he has a parents and brother and sister here in Georgia. He also has a job as a security at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. And also he has a college degree from cybersecurity. He does IT things from the college. And Your Honor, there was no indication of pregnancy whatsoever. This is the first time that we have ever heard about this. And my client has no objection to no further contact and stay away from that location, because there is no serious intimate relationship among them. They do not reside together. They have no relationship, as they are kind of like acquaintance right now. And he denies that he was a first aggressor at all. There was no bodily injury. We would like to request for signature on bond as pretrial services recommended. And also, I think that's it, Your Honor.
And Your Honor, if you could please treat this defendant as you would any other citizen, notwithstanding his service or title. And Your Honor, the victim did tell us that she is currently still pregnant. She's due in 4 weeks.
Okay. Ms. Gomiller, this is your opportunity to speak. If you'd like to make a statement, you're not required to, but if you'd like to speak, this is your opportunity. You just need to unmute your screen. Do you wish to make a statement today? You're muted. All right, please raise your right hand. It seems as if you're interested in making one. Do you swear and affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth to the best of your knowledge and under the penalty of perjury?
Yes.
All right, you can put your hand down. What would you like to tell the court at this time? I am most interested in whether you'd like to have contact with the defendant and whether you have any concerns for your safety while in his presence.
I don't know if you can hear me.
I can hear you. Go ahead.
Yes, I would prefer contact. Like the other lady said, I'm doing 4 weeks with his child. That's basically the only contact that we need, is just to co-parent the baby.
All right. All right, do you live with him?
No, no, we
Okay.
reside at different addresses. And no, I'm not in fear of my life being around him.
All right, thank you. Anything further, Ms. Tortorello and Ms. Kim, very briefly before I rule?
Nothing further from the state, Your Honor.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, what we're gonna do is, I'm
Oh,
gonna, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, Your Honor. We're asking if there's going to be third-party transfer that the defendant be legitimized or seek legitimization.
DNA
All right.
test.
I'm sorry, Ms. Kim?
Yes, DNA test should be done.
I'm not gonna order that at a bond hearing.
Legitimation.
That might be something more appropriate
Sure.
to do at a later date,
No.
not an initial bond.
Yeah.
Mr. Palou is gonna receive a $4,000 surety bond. He is to have no further violent contact with the victim, last name Go Miller, and he must stay away from the incident location despite the no further violent contact. He is to have no weapons, drugs, or alcohol as a condition of that surety bond. Is there anything further from either the state or the defense?
Your Honor, if I remember correctly, if we do not object to no further contact, that he can get a signature on bond because the solicitor was actually suggesting that no further contact and signature on bond. So we really prefer that better, Your Honor.
Your Honor, if you could please stick to your ruling that's already on the record.
I'm gonna stick to my ruling. I do appreciate your advocacy, Ms. Kim.
Thank you.
All right, best of luck to you, Mr. Palou. Who do we have next?
Yeah, the next we have
Is this Ms.
position number 2, Mr. Ferguson. Position
Before
number
we do that, Ms. Holt, do you have announcements?
Yes, I do,
Hey,
Your
fellas,
Honor.
we're still in court.
Yes, I have spoken with both Mr. Canty, position number 1, and Mr. Harris, which is position number 4. They are interested in taking the offers, but as you know, I explained to them it was a guilty plea. I explained it was convictions. I explained there will most likely be stay away conditions, and the exact ones I don't know. And that they would have to do this pro se, Your Honor. As you know, it's unethical for us to do anything but represent them for bond purposes today, based on the state bar rules. So we have no problem if you're choosing to accept a pro se plea from them, Your Honor, but that's what it would have to be. But they are interested in taking the offer.
I'm not sure it quite arises to the level of unethical, but I do understand the position of the public defender's office at this time. I don't think we should rule as to whether it's ethical or not. All right, I'd like to take the pro se pleas first so that we can make the attempt to get plea paperwork back. Is there an address that you could send to, an email address you could send to Ms. Bridgewater or to the members of the solicitor's office so that we could get the paperwork back? Because what I don't want to happen is that we have someone who refuses to sign and therefore the plea never took place. This has happened, as Mr. Walker is aware.
If they put it in the chat, I'll start working on the paperwork right now and
Hey,
email
Mr.
it to
Walker.
said individual.
Mr. Walker, I'm gonna send you an email address to send the paperwork to. Okay?
Thank you. I'm working on it right now, Your Honor.
All right, perfect. So we're gonna do position 4 first. I believe we had already given Mr. Harris almost all of his rights and his, we've gone through most of his case. So I'm gonna ask Mr. Harris whether he really wishes to take this plea. Mr. Harris, are you, come forward, please?
Your Honor, I thought it was position 6 and position 1, Mr. Jackson and Mr. Canty. Mr. Harris was.
Oh, I'm
pardon
sorry,
me, I
you're
take
right.
it back.
Yes.
Mr. Jackson,
I'm
I
sorry,
apologize,
you're
Your
right.
Honor.
You are correct.
Okay, I'll bring Mr. Jackson up first. Mr. Jackson. Oh, wow. Jackson, come on, come on. You guys gotta wake up. You can sit back down.
You're right, and I apologize for that. Wrong notes. We're gonna go to Mr. Jackson. All right, Mr. Jackson, it's my understanding that you wish to take a plea today to the charges of criminal trespass and committing certain prohibited acts. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I'm gonna ask you a series of questions first to make sure that you are voluntarily taking a plea, all right? Can I place you under oath for the very limited purposes of taking that plea?
Yes, ma'am.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear and affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth to the best of your knowledge and
Yes,
under
ma'am.
the penalty of perjury?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. Ms. Backus, will you please put the offer onto the record, please?
Yes, Your Honor. The offer is 12 months, serve 1 day, credit for time served 1 day, and stay away from the incident location, which is the North Avenue MARTA station, 641 West Peachtree Street in Atlanta.
All right. You understand that if you take a plea today, Mr. Jackson, you can't go back to that North Avenue MARTA station, but otherwise the time you served in the Fulton County Jail will close out your case. You understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol at this time?
No, ma'am.
Are you, you understand that you had a right to an attorney here today, but you chose to represent yourself?
Yes, ma'am.
Did anyone force or coerce you into taking a plea today?
No, ma'am.
And you understand taking this plea, you don't have the opportunity for a later court date. You're waiving your right to go to court later and present any evidence you would have had. You understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
And you understand that if you had gone to court, the state would have had to prove these charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt.
Yes, ma'am.
And you're completely prepared to give up the right to have them prove that burden?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, as to the charges I previously listed, Mr. Jackson, how do you plead?
Guilty.
All right, I accept your guilty plea at this time. Do not go back to the North Avenue MARTA station. You are going to receive some paperwork that you need to fill out in its entirety. If you do not sign and fill it out, it'll be just like you didn't take a plea today, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, best of luck to you, Mr. Jackson. Can we do position
That's
one?
balance suspended or balance probated?
It's gonna have to be balance suspended if it's time served.
Okay.
Right, Ms. Backus?
That is correct. It's a time served
It
24
is
hours.
correct. Balance suspended, my apologies.
It's gonna have to be balance suspended. All right,
He's working on it. Sit down.
all right. Are you Cordell Canty?
Yes.
Mr. Canty, it's my understanding that you wish to take a plea in case 22 CR 005162G, in which you're charged with 1 count of obstruction and 1 count of committing certain prohibited acts in a rail station. Is that correct?
Yes.
I'm gonna ask you some questions as well. Can I place you under oath, please?
Yes.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear and affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth to the best of your knowledge and under the penalty of perjury?
The whole truth.
You do not?
I say yes.
Okay, I appreciate that. All right, Ms. Backus, will you please put the state's offer onto the record and very briefly, just a little bit of the factual basis here in this case? Ms. Backus?
I think her screen's frozen, Your Honor.
I think so as well.
Give me 1 second, y'all. Let me try to fill in. If we're on position one.
Position one.
Okay, let me see what I can do. So I can find.
Thank you, Mr. Walker, as always.
And this is, remind me, is it Cordell Canty or?
Yes, Mr.
Okay,
Canty.
so we have obstruction and certain acts on August the 2nd while working in plain clothes at North Avenue MARTA station. An officer observed the defendant attempting to sell an alcoholic beverage to individuals at the MARTA station. When the officer approached the defendant, showing his MARTA police badge, announcing MARTA police, the defendant attempted to take flight. At that time, he was taken into custody and was charged with the 2 previously mentioned counts. And again, the state's offer is a time served offer of 24 hours, credit for time served 24 hours, balance suspended with a stay away from the North Avenue MARTA station.
All right. Mr. Canty, do you understand that the time you're served in the Fulton County Jail will essentially close the case? However, you still can't go back to the North Avenue MARTA station if you take this plea. Is that what you'd like to do today?
Hey, wake up, man. Yes, ma'am.
Are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol that will, you seem to be falling asleep. Do you understand what's happening here today, Mr. Canty?
I'm taking the plea, a guilty plea right now, man.
You understand that? Okay, you seem like you're falling asleep. If you're falling asleep, I can't take a plea from you, okay? I have to know that you're awake.
I'm awake.
All right. Are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol at this time?
Not at all.
And you understand you had a right to an attorney here today at this proceeding, but you are waiving your right and you're choosing to represent yourself.
Yes, ma'am.
And has anyone forced or coerced you into taking a plea today?
Oh, no.
Did anyone promise you anything in exchange for taking a plea?
No.
And you understand you're not going to have a later court date about these charges. You are pleading guilty and you will not get to go to court later.
Okay, yes, I do.
And you understand that if you had any defenses, you're giving up the right for the state to prove these charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt.
They are.
And do you, I'm sorry?
Yes, I do. I understand.
All right. Do you, you consent that this case took place in Fulton County, Georgia?
Yes.
And do you dispute the facts as stated by the state a moment ago?
Yes.
Do you agree that this case happened just the way Mr. Walker just stated?
Yep, just exactly.
Okay. As to the charges I previously listed, how do you plead?
I plead guilty, ma'am.
I accept your guilty plea, but you cannot go back to the North Avenue MARTA station. You understand that?
Yes, I do understand.
All right. All right. You're gonna receive some paperwork you'll need to sign to get out, all right?
Okay.
All right. Best of luck to you, sir. I believe that will conclude your case.
Thank you. Go to the blue chairs.
All right, can we go to position 3, Logan Griffith?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, Mr. Griffith, your case is 22 CR 005164E, in which you have several charges, including driving under the influence of alcohol less safe, reckless driving, possession of marijuana less than an ounce, improper or erratic lane change, and furnishing, purchasing, or possessing of alcoholic beverage below the legal age, each with the offense date of July the 29th of 2022. Do you understand your constitutional rights?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Mr. Howard?
First arrest.
Thank you. Whose case is this for the state? I hope it's, is Ms. Backus back?
I don't see her.
I don't see Ms. Backus either. Was this Ms. Backus's case?
What
Ms.
position is
Tortorella?
it?
Position 3.
Yeah, that would be Miss ASG Backus.
Yeah. I got it, Your Honor. Just give me 1 second. What's the defendant's name?
The defendant is position 3, Logan Griffith.
Okay, let me. 1
I
second.
hope Ms. Backus is all right.
I do as well, but in the interim, let me see if we can take care of. Position 3. Okay, to the 1 count of DUI, the state is requesting a $3,000 surety. To the 1 count of reckless driving or reckless conduct, rather, it's going to be a $1,000 surety. To the remaining counts, we're asking for a $500 surety on counts 3, 4, and 5. In this case, on July 29, 2022, an officer was dispatched to 352 Atlanta Street in reference to a motor vehicle accident. Upon arrival, the officer spotted a silver Honda SUV, which was heavily damaged and blocking lanes of traffic. While approaching the vehicle to see if there were any occupants inside, a female approached me and said that the driver of the silver Honda SUV, who was later to be identified as the defendant, ran out of the vehicle after the accident and looked like he was attempting to flee around the nearby building. 1 second. The officer was able to locate the defendant, who had extensive bleeding from his head. At that time, he asked for his license. The defendant advised that it was still inside the vehicle. He asked how the accident occurred. The defendant advised that he was unaware and perhaps he was driving too quickly when it occurred. The defendant did admit to having a beer or two at the time. I think that's sufficient factual basis, but based on the facts and the criminal history, the state's recommendation is as previously stated, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Walker. Ms. Mason.
Yes, Judge. Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Good afternoon. I can, Ms. Mason. Your position, please.
Our position, Judge, Mr. Griffith is 19 years old. He'll be 20 on Friday. He was born and raised in Fulton County. His parents still live in Fulton County. His permanent address is in Fulton County and Roswell. However, he is a rising junior at the University of Georgia. He is a biology major on a pre-med track. He has a job in Athens at the Botanical Gardens there. He's been working all summer and has a job in Roswell at a restaurant called Ceviche. He was hospitalized immediately after this accident. As far as the facts of the case and an attempt to flee, his car was heavily damaged and smoking, and I think he was attempting to get away from his vehicle, not trying to flee. He turned himself in on these charges yesterday, which I think is an indication that he will appear in court. He has no criminal history whatsoever. I think pretrial services recommended a signature bond, which we appreciate. I thought bonds had been set yesterday on all of these charges, with the exception of the minor in possession of alcohol charge. I mean, that may be incorrect. I'm just looking at the jail printout. However, I appreciate pretrial recommending perhaps a signature bond. He is planning on returning to campus in Athens next week. And so I think it might be difficult for him to comply with reporting to pretrial. We would ask the court either consider setting a signature bond through the jail in light of his lack of criminal history and age, or just a surety bond. I don't think he would be able to comply with pretrial conditions from Athens.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Griffin is going to receive a $3,500 surety bond, broken down as follows: 1,000 count one, 1,000 count two, and 500 for the remaining charges, which should equal the 3,500. He is to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons as a condition of that surety bond, and he is not to drive unless he has a valid license as issued by the Georgia DDS.
Understood.
All right, is there anything further from either party?
I don't think so, Judge. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Mason. If that concludes your business with the court today, you can be excused.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Take care. Best of luck to you, Mr. Griffith. All right, who do we have next?
Next, we have position number 2, Mr. Ferguson.
All right, Mr. Ferguson, your case number is 22 CR 005163J, on which you're charged with 1 count of driving under the influence of alcohol and 1 count of possession of marijuana less than an ounce. Do you understand your constitutional rights?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. Mr. Howard?
Second arrest, 2009 battery, not prosecuted.
All right, thank you. Ms. Backus?
Yes,
Good to see
Your
you're back.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right.
This incident occurred on yesterday, August 2nd. An officer was traveling north on Alpharetta Highway when he observed a car pass by with a passenger side headlight out. So the officer turned around to observe the vehicle and saw the car speed up significantly and change lanes numerous times. When the officer caught up to the vehicle, As it was trying to hurry and make a left turn into a shopping center, the officer then activated his emergency lights and initiated a traffic stop. The vehicle stopped in the parking lot, and when the officer approached the driver, the officer identified himself to the defendant and asked for the driver's license. And the defendant seemed very disoriented and he couldn't locate his license. So while speaking with him, the officer could smell a strong odor of marijuana coming from the vehicle, which the officer noticed the defendant had attempted to cover up the smell with air freshener. The defendant couldn't locate his license, but told the officer he knew his license number, at which time he told the officer a sequence of numbers that it was, the officer let him know that it was way too many numbers. And so instead he asked for his name and date of birth. The officer then called for another unit as he was going to search the vehicle based on the marijuana smell. Once the backup unit arrived, the officer instructed the defendant to get out of the vehicle. And when he got out, he stumbled. He was stumbling and the officer could smell alcohol coming from his person. The officer then informed the defendant the reason for the stop and that he could smell marijuana and that he was going to search the vehicle. Or he could just tell him where the marijuana was, to which the defendant told the officer that the marijuana was in the can. And during the vehicle search, the officer located a bag of marijuana inside of a can, as well as burnt roaches, a smoking pipe. And in addition to the marijuana, there was also a lunchbox containing beers in the back seat. And so the officers both thought it to be a DUI, and they asked the defendant about his state or if he had drank anything. And he advised he had had one glass of wine about an hour prior to the stop. And when he was asked to do a field sobriety test, he said he would rather not. And the officers placed the defendant under arrest. And at that time, he was still disoriented. He still kept saying, despite the numerous attempts to let him know why he was being arrested for the marijuana and for the alcohol, he kept saying he didn't understand why he was going to jail for a broken headlight. And so, Your Honor, we are aware that this is a second arrest, but the state is asking for the DUI, a $3,000 surety bond, and the marijuana, I believe it is a $500 surety bond, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond.
All right, thank you. Ms. Hogue? You're muted.
Sorry about that. Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Ferguson is 34 years old. He has been an Atlanta native for over 17 years now. He came here to go to school to DeVry. He did attend DeVry for a while, and then he switched out and went to DeKalb and got a welding degree or welding certificate, Your Honor. For the last 16 years, he has worked for American Honda, the warehouse, dealing with shipping of parts. So he has a very stable job. He's had a very stable address. He's been here for 17 years, Your Honor. So he is not a flight risk. He has family here as well as friends. He also has 2 children that he supports, a 15-year-old and a 13-year-old. He has, as you can see, virtually no criminal history. A 2009 arrest that resulted in a dismissal and this arrest. And that 2009 arrest is now going on 13 years old. He has been approved for a signature release or pretrial release, Your Honor. We do believe it is valid or it should be honored as justified. Given the facts of this case, he was not driving erratically. He was not doing anything of that nature. He was cited for a broken headlight. And even though the officer claims all this following around and all this other stuff, he's not charged with anything but a possession of marijuana. So given those facts, his lack of criminal history, even the arrest was not any drug or alcohol related arrest, Your Honor, his significant ties, we do believe a signature bond is justified in this case.
All right, understood, Ms. Hogue. At this time, defendant is going to receive a $2,500 surety bond, broken down 2,000, count 1, 500, count 2. He is to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. That's the condition of that surety bond. And he is to not drive unless he has a valid license issued by the Georgia GDF. Is there anything further from either party? All right. Mr. Ferguson, the best thing for you to do right now is to ask questions that you may have from your attorney.
somebody else, Judge.
Oh, okay, making sure. All right. All right, best of luck to you, sir. Who do we have next?
Position 12, Perry. Have a seat.
All right, good afternoon, Mr. Perry. Your case is 22 CR 0051744Y, in which you're charged with simple battery of family violence with the offense date of August 2nd. Do you understand your constitutional rights?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Howard.
Harold Perry.
I'm
You said-
sorry, I couldn't hear you.
What number is this?
We're on position 12.
Yeah, I didn't have a Perry on my pull sheet, so I don't have it.
Okay, we'll defer to the state to the extent that they have that history.
Oh, I do
Ms.
have it.
Tortorella?
Hold on. I got
Oh,
it.
you have it? You have it, okay.
He's still not on my pull sheet though. But yeah, I got it.
Your Honor, he was an add-on.
Okay.
Okay. He got over 20 arrests. He got a 2020 driving without a valid license. He played NOLO. 2019 shoplifting, suspended license. 2019 FTA for suspended license. He got a lot of suspended license.
Okay,
26
anything violent? That's what I'm most interested in.
2016 failure to appeal. I said 09 battery DV conviction. Also has history out of the state of Virginia. It's real old, though. It go back to 2002. A lot of probation violations.
Okay.
I don't see
think,
any violence right off.
Okay, that's perfect. Thank you, Mr. Howard. Ms. Tortorella?
Yes, Your Honor. The state's asking for a $3,500 surety bond. The conditions is that he have no contact with the victim, Ashley Marshall, traditional spelling for both names, to 1-day anger management, no drugs or alcohol, no weapons, and no new violations of Georgia law. Your Honor, on August 2nd, 2022, at 4060 Herschel Road, apartment A3 in College Park, the defendant, Brian Perry, did strike the victim, Ashley Marshall, in the face with his fist. Ms. Marshall advised she went to the defendant's apartment to gather her belongings at his request. Ms. Marshall advised that when she arrived, the defendant began to argue, which led to the defendant striking her in the face with a closed fist. Witnesses Keisha Blow and Danica Wright, friends of the victim, were present to assist Ms. Marshall with her belongings. Both witnesses provided written statements to the officer where they described that they observed the defendant strike the victim in the face. The officer observed no visible marks on Ms. Marshall. Ms. Marshall advised she lived with the defendant and his ex-wife in the past. The defendant was arrested and these events occurred in Fulton County, Georgia. Your Honor, this defendant poses a risk of reoffending and committing violent crimes while out on bond. He also has a history of domestic violence on his record. He pled guilty to battery of family violence in Cobb County State Court on February 18, 2009. He also was arrested for simple battery out of Cobb County on July 26, 2011. That was dismissed. He violated his probation in 2009 out of Smyrna Municipal Court. He was found guilty. As you heard from pretrial, he has a lot of FTAs on his record. The victim and the defendant, according to the victim, they are no longer in a relationship. They no longer live together and they share no children. The victim stated she wants no contact with the defendant and she wants to file a TPO. She also stated that this is not the first time the defendant has hit her. So for that reason, Your Honor, we are again He poses a risk of reoffending, committing violent offenses while he's out on bond. He also poses a risk of intimidating this victim and the witnesses in this case. And for that reason, we are asking for the $3,500 surety bond with the conditions already stated. Nothing further.
Thank you, Ms. Tortorella. Ms. Hoag?
Yes, and Mr. Perry, I do recommend that you do remain silent, okay? I see your hand up. Okay, Your Honor, Mr. Perry is 52 years old, Your Honor. He has been in Georgia like all his life, pretty much. As you can see, he has been at the same job with Investa Services for 18 years, and he has a second job now with a John Smith firm. He is a contractor, Your Honor. In fact, part of it is that Investa didn't have enough work, so he's now taken on yet a second job. He is also just getting over COVID, so he was out of work for several weeks, Your Honor, which is the time he was not making money. He has as we said, he has a significant history here, Your Honor. He has a significant job, and his history, while I'm understanding that they're claiming there's a violent history, we're talking about an incident from 13 years ago, Your Honor, and another one from 11 years ago that was dismissed. As far as the FTAs, I'm not really hearing that these are FTAs for anything other than possibly driver's license issues, which is not necessarily acceptable, but not necessarily unusual either. As you can see, he has a history of license issues. Given that his minimal actual violent history, which is 13 years old, Your Honor, his significant family ties here, his recent illness, which has left him financially strapped, Your Honor, we do believe that a signature bond is not unreasonable at all. As far as his threats and his everything, this one was moving out of his place. We only have the statements from biased friend witnesses, claims of things that have never been reported, and no marks or anything on this particular person either. She was moving out. She's not there. He has no intention. He asked her to move out. So this was prompting from him, not her. She was being asked to move out. She has moved out. He wants no contact whatsoever. He has no intention of contacting her. He doesn't even know her friends or anything, or even addresses at this point, Your Honor. So he's not a threat to anyone. So we do believe a signature bond is justified in this case, Your Honor.
I'm going to sound for Ms. Marshall at this time. Is Ms. Marshall? Ms. Marshall, you need to turn on your camera if you would like to make a statement at
Hold
this
on,
time.
I'm sorry. Hold on. Start my video. All right. Hello?
Yes, Ms. Marshall, do you wish
Yes,
to make a
ma'am.
statement?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
So,
before you
yes, ma'am.
wait,
So-
stop. Before you start talking, please raise your right hand. Do you swear and affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth to the best of your knowledge and under the penalty of perjury?
Yes, ma'am.
And now, what the court is most interested in is whether you wish to have contact with the defendant and whether you have any fear or concern for your safety, okay?
No, I don't wish to have any contact, and I do have a fear of my harm being done to me.
Okay.
I have said I have statements from my sister, my friend. She has text messages in her phone, as do I, from this man.
Okay.
And so, no, I do have bodily harm. And yes, he has previously done things to me in the past. No, he does not work for Investa
Okay.
at all.
I don't want you to say anything specific about the case. I think that I understand that you wish to have no contact with him. Is that correct?
No, because he scares me.
All right. I think I understand. Thank you, Ms. Marshall. Is there anything else briefly you'd like to add?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. I have nothing else to say.
All right. Thank you. As I've allowed the victim to speak, is there anything further, Ms. Tortorella or Ms. Hogue?
No, Your Honor, I'm just again warning my client to remain silent. As I've told him, this is a bond hearing. This is
Just a
not,
bond hearing.
it's not an evidentiary hearing, Your Honor. Only to say that, as we've stated, Your Honor, he doesn't want contact, she doesn't want contact. There's no indication that there's going to be an issue here with that. So I do believe that a signature bond is justified in this case.
And
All right.
on behalf of the state, Your Honor, just to point out that we understand that the domestic violence offenses are quite remote. However, it's still very important to state on the record as we are here before Your Honor with another violent offense pending. Nothing further.
All right. I'll be accepting the state's recommendation at this time. He's going to receive a $3,500 surety bond. He is to have no further contact with the victim, last name Marshall, and stay away from the address on Herschel Road. He is
Your
to have
Honor,
no.
Your Honor, that's his address.
That is his address?
That's
That is
correct,
it.
Your
She
Honor.
moved out.
Ma'am,
All right,
doesn't live
ma'am,
there.
that is not his address. That is not his address. That's not where he lives with his
Okay, Your
ex-wife.
Honor.
That is not his name. Is not on
All
any
right.
paperwork there.
All right. Miss Marshall, you are still under oath. Let me ask you this, Miss Marshall, what is your address? Well, let me not
My
ask that.
address-
Wait, don't give me your address. Do you live at 460 Herschel Road?
I moved away from there.
Okay, so we will not issue the stay away from that address, but he is still to have no further contact with Miss Marshall. And he is to have no weapons, drugs, or alcohol as a condition.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, anything further from either the state or the defense?
Nothing further from the state, Your
All
Honor.
right, best of luck to you, Mr. Perry. Who do we have next?
Position 13, Turner.
All right, and in light of the waived appearance, this will be the last case at courtroom 2, correct?
Well, we also have position 1 and 6 for the pleas.
Okay, if we've taken the pleas, did they complete their paperwork?
So they don't have to come before you again?
They've already come before me. They just need to fill out that paperwork. Was the paperwork received
Yes,
at the
they're doing
jail?
it now. They're doing it now.
Okay, I'd love to get that back before we conclude today. All right.
Yes,
good
I'm
afternoon.
holding on the paperwork right now. I haven't received it, so.
Okay,
They're working
Miss,
on it now, Judge.
okay, thank you.
Okay.
Mrs. Turner, your case is 22 CR 004173A, and what you're charged with 1 count of disorderly conduct, 1 count of obstruction, and 1 count of committing certain prohibited acts in a rail or bus station. Do you understand your constitutional rights?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Howard?
He got almost 90 arrests. He got history out of Arizona, California, Virginia, Florida, Indiana, Illinois, Idaho, Nevada, New York, Missouri, Tennessee, and Ohio.
Okay, I think I understand. Do you want to give me maybe something in the last 2 years?
Not really. I mean, unless you want it, but not really.
I think I'm sure Ms. Tortorella will give it to us. Ms. Tortorella, if you'll give us the relevant parts of the criminal history, not the entire criminal history. And please put
Yes.
on your case.
Yes, Your Honor. Unfortunately, my office only ran GCIC and not NCIC. So currently he has no criminal history in Georgia.
Okay. Mr.
All right,
Howard,
I
we
guess
may
I will.
need you. Yes, we need you.
I don't even know where to start. Hold on. Let me go to my bookmarks. I got a February 2022 stolen goods out of Virginia. That was a conviction. Hold on. Tennessee, which was his last arrest, was in June, out of Blount County. Disorderly conduct, criminal trespass. The disorderly conduct was dismissed. The trespass was a conviction. Also had theft of a motor vehicle. 2018 was Idaho. Says fighting, conviction, false information, that was dismissed. Possession of a controlled substance was dismissed.
I think that's good, Mr. Howard. Thank you. We can proceed. I think I understand. Ms. Tortorella?
Yes, Your Honor. So for the certain acts charge, a $500 surety bond for this disorderly conduct charge, a $2,000 surety bond, and for the obstruction charge, a $1,000 surety bond. That will be a total of $3,500, and that would be a good bond. The conditions we're recommending is for him to stay away from the incident location, which is the MARTA Civic Center Station at 435 West Peachtree Street Northwest in Atlanta. That he have no violent contact with Officer Bailey of the MARTA Police Department, no drugs or alcohol, no weapons, and no new violations of Georgia law. Your Honor, on August 2nd, 2022, while working in plainclothes, Officer Bailey and Officer Smith approached a black male later identified as Defendant Keith Turner. Actually, I'm sorry, observed him gain entry into the MARTA Civic Center Station in Atlanta by pushing through the gate without attempting to pay for the proper fare. Upon approach, Officer Bailey displayed his badge and identified himself to the defendant as MARTA Police and advised the defendant of his violation. The officer asked the defendant to provide him with defendant's identification and a breeze card. The defendant replied by yelling out loud, "I do not have to show you anything, and I'm not going to show you anything." The defendant then used profane language such as "F this shit," end quote, "I do not give an F," end quote, advising officers that he did not have to show a valid identification. The officers then placed the defendant under arrest, and while doing so kept arrest and refused to place his hands behind his back. The officer had to forcefully place the defendant's hands behind his back, and the defendant kept reaching for something in his pocket. The defendant was arrested, and these events occurred in Fulton County, Georgia. Your Honor, we are concerned that this defendant will reoffend. He has 90 cycles. He's a multi-state offender. He was convicted in 2018 of fighting out of Idaho. And who is to know what other pending cases he has. So for that reason, Your Honor, we are asking for that $3,500 surety bond with the conditions. Nothing further.
All right, thank you. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Turner is 41 years old, Your Honor, and he has been here in Georgia all his life. This is his permanent place. He has a daughter that he has to take care of, and also he has his parents and family members here in Georgia. And last 20 years, he also has been working as a musician. He writes songs and he does R&B music. Recently, he has had a funeral in the families, and he does not have enough financial resources other than taking care of his daughter. And also, he has a very chronic medical condition that he needs medical attention. He needs medicine at the jail. He has not been able to get that. So we are very concerned about his whether he's going to get a serious condition there. And we would like to request for a social worker services visit for behavioral health evaluation for him. Other than that, we would like to request for a signature on bond. And yet, if Your Honor is not inclined to give him a signature on bond because of previous failure to appear in other places in multi-state offense, we would like to request for maximum $1,500, $500 each charge, Your Honor. Thank you very much.
Thank you. At this time, the defendant's going to receive a $1,500 surety bond, $500 each count, and he is to stay away from the Civic Center Station and have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons as the condition of that surety
Judge,
bond.
can you please repeat the bond? I was at.
Excuse me, Ms. Williams, I'm trying to speak on my own behalf, please.
I don't suggest that you do that, Mr. Turner. The best thing to do is to let Ms. Kim speak
Put
for
the
you.
mask back on.
No, I
I
do.
told you, Mr.
I would like to speak. I would like to speak on my own behalf.
Listen, I need you to put your hands back for me. Sit back on the chair.
Judge,
Thank
what
you.
was the bond amount again?
It's 500 each count. Mr. Turner, you have a representative here.
You have a right to remain silent, Mr.
You
Turner.
may, the
I
state is
strongly
listening.
recommend you
Anything
stay
you say will be used against you, Mr. Turner.
I understand that. I understand that. I would like to speak on my own behalf. My name is
Keep
Mr.
your
Keith.
mask up, Mr. Turner.
My name is Keith Lamar Turner, and I'm sitting right here
detained against my will over some accusations that doesn't involve no violence, that doesn't involve no drugs, that doesn't involve no gangs, and doesn't involve no weapons. I was on my way going to pick
Mr.
up
Turner,
my I take seizure meds while I'm here. And
Mr. Turner, I understand this, but I really don't want you to. You don't know what might end up being used against you. You sound like you're going to tell me about some facts, and you may slip up and say something. Ms. Kim has done well in advocating for you today. It is my strong recommendation that you stop talking to me because you're on an open record. Okay.
I'm all right. I can represent myself and talk to myself. I represented myself going pro per and talked to myself and won before. So here's what I'm saying. I'm being held against my will. I'm a very sick and poor man. I take seizure medications. When the plainclothes officer stopped me, I was on my way to get my seizure medication, and I still haven't had my seizure medication. So I'm willing to resolve this matter today, or take a recess or resolve this matter, because once again, I don't have no criminal arrests, no criminal history in Georgia. And with that being said, when I'm released from here, there would never be another incident like this again, because I will make sure this non-violent incident.
Okay, Mr. Turner, the bond is going to remain as set, but Ms. Tortorella, is there any offer to resolve his case at this time? I understand that Ms. Kim will not be able to assist him with that, but I just want to know if there was an offer for this case.
Not today, Your Honor, and I'm hesitant to do that as.
No, that's fine. That I
will request a margin hearing. I request a margin hearing. I can represent myself. Miss Kim, are you done with this? Miss Kim, you are fired. I don't need you to help me.
Mr. Turner, I am directing you to calm down and to listen
She
to the
went against me.
And Your Honor, as you can see, this defendant is unruly.
Mr. Tortorella, I think I've got it. All right, Mr. Turner, I'm direct. I understand this is
not violent. I did nothing wrong.
Mr. Turner, this is a bond hearing that you've made bond. I've set a bond for you today.
I want a margin hearing. A margin hearing, please. A margin hearing. I need a margin hearing.
All right. I believe Mr. Turner's case is resolved. This is a bond hearing. We've set your bond. Mr. Walker confirming with you that there's no offer at this time.
I was going to say, if Mr. Turner wants to take an offer, the state would certainly provide one.
What is the offer at this time?
I would need a moment, but is that what he was saying?
He's insisting on an offer or something to resolve this. So
3 minutes.
I'll give you 3 minutes. Let's go courtroom 2. If you'll wait 3 minutes, Mr. Walker is going to observe to see if there's something he can offer Mr. Turner today. I understand Ms. Kim's position will be that he should not take that, but of course it would be his right to hear the state's offer. Let's go to the waived appearance while Mr. Walker does that. We're going to go to position 7, Miss Angelia Lewis, case 22 CR 005168B. in which she's charged with possession and use of a drug-related object and criminal trespass. Mr. Howard, can I have that history?
Yeah, 74.
74?
Yes. Last arrest was June for trespass. That's open. 22 CR 003 918B. She got history out of Georgia and Florida. She was arrested in May, FTA for drug-related objects and possession of cocaine. April, shoplifting conviction. April, FTA for cocaine, possession of drug-related objects. February, shoplifting arrest. February, possession of cocaine and the drug-related objects. 2020, possession of cocaine conviction. You want more?
No, that's perfectly fine. Thank you. Ms. Tortorella?
Yes, Your Honor. Can you hear me? For the criminal trespass, a $500 surety bond, and for that bond to remain the same. For the drug objects charge, a $1,000 surety bond, and for that bond to remain the same. So the total will be a $1,500 good bond. The conditions is that she stay away from the incident location, which is the MARTA 5-point station at 30 Alabama Street Southwest in Atlanta. A social worker to visit her for housing placement. She's currently homeless. ADET, no drugs or alcohol, no weapons, and no new violations of Georgia law. Your Honor, she currently has an open case with the Fulton County State Court, 22 CR 003918 B as in boy for criminal trespass. That offense date was June 18th, 2022. And she was granted bond on June 20th, 2022, $2,000 signature bond through the jail by Judge Morrow, where he ordered the defendant not to violate any laws or ordinances of the state and for her to not have any drugs while out on bond. She's currently in violation of this bond order, Your Honor, as she has committed a subsequent offense in this state and was smoking and using a crack pipe. Your Honor, she clearly has substance abuse issues, and I would go over the history so Your Honor can understand. So the facts are on August 2nd, 2022, while patrolling the MARTA 5-point station at 30 Alabama Street, Officer Lewis and Officer Dunn of the MARTA Police Department observed a female later identified as the defendant, Angelia Lewis, smoking from what appeared to be a glass-like crack pipe drug-related object. The defendant was placed under arrest and escorted to Central Precinct for further processing. The officer conducted a MARTA suspension check, which came back active for current suspension, which was issued on to the defendant on June 7th, 2022, and became effective on July 7th, 2022. The defendant can resume riding on September 5th, 2022. The defendant was arrested and all these events occurred in Fulton County, Georgia. Your Honor, the state is concerned. Most of her record here shows a lot of drug charges that stem all the way back from 2000 convictions. The recent one was possession of cocaine out of Cobb County, where she was convicted on October 13th, 2021. On November 2014, she was convicted of criminal trespass out of Cobb County. On November 11th, 2013, possession of cocaine, which was actually reduced to drug objects out of Cobb County. And her history starts with DUIs. To add, Your Honor, she had a recent arrest February 18th, 2022 for possession of cocaine and drug-related objects by the MARTA Police Department, no disposition. On November 10th, 2020, criminal trespass out of MARTA Police Department. July 4th, 2020, terroristic threats and acts felony out of DeKalb. She has a VOP on her record. Her probation was revoked in 2012 out of Clayton County, and various FTAs. For that reason, Your Honor, we are asking for the bond amount to remain the same, as well as the conditions stated, especially the ADET. Nothing further.
All right, Ms. Kim.
Yes,
before I know you're going to begin, but what is your position regarding the requested evaluations, the ADET or the BHET?
May we change that to BHET because of the cost? She's not going to be able to afford ADET. So BHET shall be sufficient to start with. If they believe that there's need for ADET, I'm sure they will recommend that.
Okay, go ahead, Ms. Kim.
Thank you, Your Honor. She is 56 years old, Your Honor, and she was born and raised here in Georgia. So she's Georgia native. She has 9 children and they're all adults. However, she does not have much of contact with her children at this point. She has not had any job. And she also has a disability, and she graduated from high school, and we would like to request for signature on bond. If Your Honor is not inclined to give her a signature on bond, maximum $200, $100 each. She will still not be able to pay any of those. She will still have to stay in the jail, and we are going to recommend for social worker services and BHET, so she can get proper help for housing and other issues as well. Thank you.
All right, at this time, the defendant is going to receive a $750 surety bond. That will be $250, count 1, $500, count 2. I am going to order the BHET, and based upon the results of the BHET, we'll determine if the ADET is necessary, and she must also stay away from the 5-point MARTA station. Is there anything further from either the state or the defense?
Your Honor, I'm sorry, Your Honor, with the BHET helper with housing.
So, yes, the social worker Wolf is it. All right, let's go back to Mr. Turner. Mr. Walker, if you would, I see that you put it in the chat. Will you put that offer onto the record?
Yes, Your Honor, I would be glad
Is
to.
courtroom two still here, Mr. Turner? The state is offering you, is making you an offer to resolve your case today. I'm gonna ask if you want to take the offer at this time. Mr. Walker, what is the offer?
And the offer would be to plead guilty to how many counts is it? I'm sorry, Your Honor.
3 counts.
3.
To all 3 counts. The offer would be 12 months to serve, 24 hours, credit for time served of 24 hours, which means no additional jail time, balance probated with the condition of a 2-week anger management program, a stay away from the Civic Center MARTA station, and your probation can go non-reporting upon completion of the anger management.
All right, I want to make sure we still have a court reporter on the line because this is not just a time served plea. I do see a court reporter. Ms. Carter, are you still here with us? Okay, just making sure. Mr. Turner, are you interested in taking that plea?
Don't touch the mic. Stop touching the mic. Don't touch the mic, sir.
Oh,
They can hear you.
damn,
They can hear
man. I
you.
can't do nothing. I'm just trying
They
to
can hear you.
Okay, I'm sitting here like, you
Okay,
know,
Mr. Turner, stay
Oh, yeah.
focused. Do you
You
want
hear
to
me?
take this offer today?
you hear me? I would like to speak with Mr. Walker about a possible counter offer so we can resolve this matter today.
That's the state's the
That's
best,
the
the
state's
final,
final offer
and
at this
it's only
bond
good for
hearing.
today.
You know,
Is that they're not going to accept any counter offers at this time, Mr. Turner? Even though I do understand that you have the right to represent yourself, but this is just a bond hearing. Do you, are you interested in taking that offer?
I'm requesting an immediate margin hearing and also a evidential hearing and a speedy trial.
Okay,
Stay with
those
the
are duly
definite.
noted. All those requests, you're going to be reset to the SAP calendar, which I believe will meet the requirements of your first request and actually second request, and I believe third request, actually. If you're not interested in the state's offer, you do have a bond as set previously, and I believe that will conclude your case, okay? All right, Mr. Turner, please reach out to Ms. Kim with other questions regarding your hearing today, okay?
I'm discharging her because she's not in the best interest of me. I would like a
That's within your rights. There's no need to say anything further, but she's representing you here today, as is the public defender's office is available to you if you wish to avail yourself of their services after today, all right?
I want to thank you for bearing with me and being with me, and just keep in mind that I'm being offered 12 months over something, and I never had no criminal arrest history in the state of Georgia.
Your Honor, is that bond a good bond?
Yes, it's a good bond. I understand that, Mr. Turner. You're asking 12, it's actually 12 months probation. You wouldn't have to serve any more time in the Fulton County Jail, but they're requiring you to do some classes and such. They're not offering you quite 12 months to serve in the jail. I just wanted to make sure you understood that part.
No, I didn't understand that. Now that I know that, I would accept the offer. I thought they was offering me 12 months in jail. But
no, Mr. Walker, will you please explain?
Well, since it's pro se now, I guess I can talk directly to the defendant. Essentially, Mr. Turner, you have to take 2 anger management courses and stay away from the MARTA Civic Center.
I'm fine with staying away from the MARTA Civic Center, but I'm a musician and I travel and I make music all over. So would you please take away the anger management, and I'll stay away from the MARTA Civic Center. And
that's the final offer. And if
you would never
report to SAP, it would not be the same.
You would never get another arrest history or get another arrest out of me again in the state of Georgia if you do that. Please take away the anger management, and I will plead guilty right now and stay away from the MARTA Civic Center. Please, I'll plead guilty right now and we'll resolve this.
I'm sorry, that's not something I can do. So we could just reset it for SAP, Your Honor.
No. I'll take the offer.
Do you know how much about will he have to pay for the anger management courses?
So I know there's different service providers. Some of them charge on a sliding scale. So I mean, I don't want to give out any false information.
No, I understand. I want him to just be
Probation can help
aware.
direct him to and I don't want pretrial to be mad at me, but I'm almost certain you can order it through pretrial for free. They used to provide a 2-day anger management course.
Mr. Howard, is that correct?
No.
Mr. Howard's indicating that that's not correct.
They used to do that back in the day, Your Honor,
Mr.
but
Turner, you're also gonna have to pay probation fees. You have to report to probation. The offer is that you're reporting to probation until you finish that course, but once you finish, you don't have to go to probation anymore. So there are fees involved
the state
here.
is willing to waive the probation fees if the court would allow it.
I'm not sure the court will allow it, but I understand
Understood.
that position, Mr. Walker. So you understand that there would be fees involved as well, Mr. Turner?
Yes, Ms. Williams, I just want to know, when can be the next, I take seizure medications and my health in here is real poor. And I'm a diabetic. So I'm trying to get out of here as soon as I can and be done and over with this. But if I didn't decide to go along with this, when could be the next possible?
You will be reset to the SAP calendar on August the 16th, whereby your case would be revisited. And you do have a $1,500 bond. If you go through a bonding company, you would be able to bond out, Mr. Turner, and perhaps fight these charges from the outside.
Okay, until then,
Wait, but let's confirm something else. Are there any other cases holding Mr. Turner in? Is this the only case holding him in?
Your Honor, I believe it's his only case.
These are the only cases holding him in? Because I don't want to go through all this and then we're dealing with some other holds.
I would like to resolve this matter today, but if we can't resolve it, then can we get a earlier court date?
No, the court dates are already set. I can't reset you to it. The earliest court date you would receive would be the SAP calendar on the 16th.
Okay, thank you. Mrs. Williams and Mr. Walker, please keep this in mind that we're talking about something that doesn't involve no weapons, no guns, or no violence.
We understand that part, Mr.
No
Turner.
drugs, no weapons, no violence. Please reconsider that for the next 16 days. Okay? No drugs, no weapons, no violence. I got no criminal history out here. I'll keep back and chill for the next 16 days, but hopefully after the next 16 days.
Okay, Mr. Howard, Mr. Howard, you're still here. Mr. Howard, give me that history again out of Nevada. What was it?
No,
I just wrote
the history.
Be quiet for a second, Mr. Turner. Be quiet for a second. Mr. Howard, can you give me that history of Nevada and Indiana? I wrote down Nevada, Indiana. I see disorderly theft and a 2018 fighting. Give me the violence in the past 5 years, if you don't mind, Ms. Howard.
I don't have no violence in Georgia.
Okay, it don't matter, violence. Okay, thank you, Mr. Turner. I appreciate that. Mr. Howard.
I checked you. I have no criminal history in Georgia.
Mr. Howard's gone.
I shouldn't be.
I don't know where he went.
Because
Mr. Howard, are you still there? Did you give up on us? All right, Mr. Tortorello or Mr. Walker, if you can give me the.
I did
You
not
don't have it.
I have
This
his
is the
Georgia
one where the
history.
right, the only GCIC, not the NIC. This is the okay.
I heard, Your Honor, he had a I think it was a conviction for stolen goods or arrest in 2022. Then in Tennessee, he had a criminal trespass arrest or conviction in 2022, and then he was convicted of fighting out of Idaho in 2018. And that's all I got as far as what but I believe he's been all around the country,
right,
with the 90 cycles.
Judge, Mr. Howard is about to come back on if you want him to go ahead and give you the history.
Yes, if he could just give me, just confirm that there was nothing violent in the past 5 years.
He should be coming back on in probably about 2 minutes.
I was trying to call him, so thank you, Ms. Champion.
All right, Mr. Walker, and you're making no modifications to the state's offer at this time. The court is not encouraging you to do so. I am just clarifying that point.
That is correct. The defendant can always do a non-negotiated plea, but based upon the information that I've heard and the behavior that I've witnessed today, I think a 2-week anger management course may be beneficial.
All right.
State's position.
Yeah, I disagree with that because I haven't had no sleep at all whatsoever. They had me inside some holding cell for 48 hours and still when I leave from here, they still don't have a bed for me. I take seizure medication, I take diabetic medication, and they still haven't provided me.
Okay,
with the
I
medication
understand that,
need.
Mr. Turner. We
So-
understand that. What we're questioning right now is whether or not you want to take the state's offer or whether you want to enter into a negotiated plea situation whereby you risk me making a decision where I could either waive the anger management or I could decide to agree with the state. And I'm just going to tell you, if you take a plea today, I am going to accept the state's recommendation. So we're back to the state's offer and whether or not you wish to take that or whether you want to try to bond out and be reset to the SAP calendar on the 16th. What would you like to do, Mr. Turner?
I like to know that I'm a beneficiary of trust.
Okay, before you, yes, sir, what would you like to do? In the meantime, please, everyone, please start sending Ms. Bridgewater the orders, all orders, outstanding paperwork, waivers of appearance, anything else that Ms. Bridgewater needs to get, especially those other two pleas at the jail. Please send those to Ms. Bridgewater. Ms. Bridgewater, have you gotten those?
I sent it
No,
to
ma'am, I
Mr.
have
Walker.
not.
I was talking right now, you cut me off when I was talking.
Hey, hold on.
I did cut you off. We're gonna come back to you, Mr. Turner. Please hold on. Mr. Walker, can you please send all paperwork to Ms. Bridgewater, make sure she
Doing it
has
as we
it?
speak, Your Honor.
Thank you. Anyone else? Ms. Kim, you sent all waivers of appearance to Ms. Bridgewater, correct?
I do have the waiver. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I'm just holding on that plea paperwork.
Okay, Mr. Turner, again, I just want you to, I'm cautioning you, the state is listening and they may review this prior to any other later court dates. That's why I keep cutting you off. I am cutting you off to protect yourself. Now, that being said, do you wish to take the state's offer at this time?
I'm 41 years old, Your Honor. I've been representing myself and having to take care of myself for the past 41 years. I've seen a lot of people come and a lot of people go, and there comes a time where you have to stand up for yourself on what's right. I'm a beneficiary of trust. As the beneficiary of trust, I'm appointing you my trustee. As my trustee, I want you to discharge me of this matter I'm accused of and eliminate the record. And we're talking
Okay, Your Honor, I'm going to just cut in at this point. The state's going to take that as a no. Even if he were to take a plea, I don't think on the record it would read as he took it freely and voluntarily. So at this point, we just need to reset it for SAP.
All right, the state's objection is noted. Mr. Turner, this is your last opportunity. Would you like to take this plea? Yes or no?
no.
All right, he will be so reset to the SAP calendar on the 16th of August, whereby this entire case will be revisited. It is my, I do encourage the state to keep that offer or something close to it for his consideration, as I'm inclined to agree that that was a fair sentence. All right.
We're completed here in courtroom 2.
All right, we sure are, aren't we? All right, y'all have a good day at courtroom 2. Ms. Bridgewater, if you would please review the calendar for me, I greatly appreciate it.
I would gladly do it, Your Honor. Position number, well, first of all, the reset date for the SAP calendar is going to be August the 16th. Case number 1 took a plea. Position number 2 is being reset to the SAP calendar with a $2,500 total good bond. Position number 3 is going to the SAP calendar with a $3,500 total good bond. Position 4 is reset to the competency calendar, which is August the 18th with a $500 good bond. Position 5 was released. Position 6 took a plea. Position 7 is reset to the SAP calendar with a $750 total good bond. Position 8 is going to the SAP calendar with a $2,000 good bond. Position 9 is going to the SAP calendar with a $1,000 good bond. Position 10 going to the SAP calendar with a $4,000 good bond. Position 11, SAP calendar with a $500 good bond. Position 12, the SAP calendar with a $3,500 good bond. And position 13 going to the SAP calendar with a $1,500 total good bond. Are there any questions, comments, or otherwise?
No,
If
that's
not,
all.
All right,
I'm sorry.
hearing none. I don't believe anyone had any, Ms. Bridgewater, so hearing none,
Okay.
we will be in recess until tomorrow's SCA calendar, at which time Judge Law will be presiding. Please send any outstanding paperwork to Ms. Bridgewater for my signature. All right, everyone take care. Have a great rest of your afternoon. See some
Thank
of you
you.
at SAP tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.